if you can, for a quick proof of life. Hello. I know this time of year and this time of day and this time of the week, it's a triple whammy. So don't worry about if you have got something other than tea or coffee in your mug. It's absolutely acceptable. But yeah, it's fantastic to have so many people joining us today, and we're going to get going in a minute or two. There we go. Hello, Nish. Lovely to have you with us.
Hello, hello.
How's it going?
Good, thank you.
Good, good.
Yesterday was awesome with the kids.
Oh, yeah, I saw Dale's video. That's very, very cool.
Yeah.
Lovely. Okay, so just for the sake of time, oh, hello, Nishi. Nice to have you. Hello, Sue. How's it going?
Good, and you?
Good, good.
Hello, everyone.
So, as we let everybody in, yeah, guys, so really welcome to all of you. As you know, as much as we all do love getting together in person, the logistics just, I don't know if it may be like it never worked and we just forced it before COVID, because that's what our life was and there was nothing to compare. But certainly trying to get people to an event at 4 p.m. in the afternoon across town or across traffic is just really a nightmare. So it's always wonderful to have the option to successfully jump onto a Teams call. So you can see our topic today, innovative use of technology. This is definitely a great example of that. I think our WIT events, we've kind of settled on about 45 WIT events a year, which is just a really wonderful amount in terms of what we're trying to focus on. And I think after this year, there's so much change that has happened in technology. I mean, I think, you know, talking today, we've got 3 very interesting and informed speakers, but just the impact of AI and ChatGPT on the world of commerce and engagement has just been so tremendous and so significant. And I think very often, I loved, we were commenting on Sasha's background just now. I'm not sure if everybody heard, but you know, she just asked those of us that were on the call at that particular time whether you see a sunset or a sunrise. And the whole outcome is your perspective. And with technology, we very often, our perspective has shifted so much because we're so used to technology. We're so used to having a smartphone and having the internet at our fingertips. We're so used to being in touch and connected all the time that, you know, it becomes, you can't see the wood for the trees. You know, we're so used to doing it our way. So the organization that I'm in, which is Mint, we're a Microsoft partner. And so, of course, we use Teams. So we're so familiar with Teams. And then today I had a webinar and it was on Zoom. And of course, you know, I'm like a baby giraffe trying to figure out where to go and what button to push. And I'm busy having a conversation and I'm not muted because I don't know where mute is. But the last time I was on Zoom was probably about 6 weeks ago. And in those 6 weeks, there's quite a bit that's changed just in their interface and their interaction. And I realized actually quite a lot has changed with Teams as well. But because I use it all the time, I'm just absorbing those changes without actually taking a step back and looking at this innovative progress that is constantly happening around us. So today's topic actually was quite serendipitous. And unfortunately, the person who triggered this topic isn't able to join us today. And that was a chap that I was at varsity with, and he is the CEO of the Game Rangers Association of South Africa. And he's very prolific on LinkedIn. And through his posting, I've become quite informed about how the conservation field is using technology to drive conservation awareness and initiatives and protect conservation. And so I was hoping to get Andy to speak today, so we'll have to try and get him on board at a later stage. But it kind of pushed me out of my comfort zone of always, looking at the WIT network and kind of what we're all doing in our different organizations and what we're focusing on. And just stepping out a bit into how different people and different organizations are using technology to achieve their business or strategic purposes. And so that's how we got to today's topic. So I'm just going to remind everybody what WIT is about. No doubt you've all joined our LinkedIn group. I will drop the link into the chat for you to access easily. I'm ashamed to say that I'm not very good with keeping our Facebook group up to date. I think I go onto Facebook once a week myself. So I'll have to hand that over to somebody who's more focused on Facebook to keep driving. But just if you are interested in finding out more about the mothership of the WIT Network, there is the global chapter. They're based in the US. They were a part of the IMCP, which is the Channel Partners Association, and they seeded in 2018 to become their own organization because they wanted to be focused on the technology aspect and not the Microsoft technology aspect. So that's the WIT network is really technology agnostic, if I can say that. And in South Africa, our primary focus is really just around engaging and networking and providing opportunities for young women to enter the industry, as well as women to shift into the industry as career changes. And then also career advancement within technology. So that's what our focus is, that's what our network is, and that's how we're trying to encourage all of you to engage. So welcome to today. It's wonderful to have you all here. And we're going to get going with a chap called Niran Naidu, and his company is HSP Mobility. Niran, I'm going to stop sharing my deck, and you can get ready to start presenting on your side or sharing your screen on your side. And this is also the power of networking. I kind of put out a little bit of an APB to my network to say I'm looking for speakers who can chat to the WIT ladies or the WIT members today on the innovative use of technology within their business. And Niran was highly recommended, so thank you very much for that. And Niran, there we go. I'm going to hand over straight to you.
Thank you very much, Lauren. I don't know if everyone can see my presentation.
Yes, we can.
Okay, awesome. All right, so just a little bit about HSP Mobility Solutions. We're one of the leading providers in mobility solutions. We focus on 4 core channels, one being air mobility solutions, which is your private charters. We do chauffeur services. We do road mobility solutions, which is fleet rental and fleet management. And probably our most prominent product offering is our AI mobility solutions. Okay, we customize mobility solutions that is built around customers' needs. And our vision is to pretty much advance mobility, the mobility industry using AI. So some of the challenges we face, and if you're looking into our road mobility space, we often see our fleet customers battling with accidents and driver behavior issues, fuel wastage, and unnecessary maintenance costs. We conducted research and we looked at aiming at addressing these through proactive measures. We looked at various options and it led us to AI-powered solutions. This was an AI telematic dashcam that offers analytics, real-time insights, data-driven strategies, and enhanced safety, operational efficiencies, and cost savings. It's sort of driving with a co-pilot in the vehicle, and we figured that we're not going to be able to change people's personalities. So what we looked at is changing behaviors, because knowing that something is watching you and this co-pilot is watching you, driving you, guiding you and recording you, it drove behaviors to start changing. So just a little bit of a case study. One of our prominent or biggest customers has a fleet of about 300 vehicles. And they were grappling with high accident ratios of about 30% per month of their fleet. This was excessive fuel costs, vehicle abuse, and really high maintenance expenses. The introduction of the AI dash cam played a pivotal role in real-time monitoring, incident analysis, and driving behavior insights. The results were remarkable, showcasing a significant reduction in accidents, substantial fuel cost savings, improved vehicle integrity, and a notable decrease in expenditures. So if you look at our plan was pretty much to have a transformative change through 4 key pillars. One being alerting driver behaviors using AI dash cams, achieving significant costs, implementing advanced reporting mechanisms, and conducting comprehensive driver training. This approach not only effectively reduced accidents and improved fuel efficiencies, but it also fostered a safety-first culture, facilitated in decision-making, and empowered drivers through education. So the road and driver
Niran, I think we've lost your sound. I'm not sure if it's just me.
Nope, we've lost him.
No. Help. Niran, sorry. Oh, there you're back. Try. Oh, there
we go. All right.
Thanks.
So the road and driver-facing cameras, coupled with advanced AI capabilities, offered a unique dimension to fleet management. Okay, it provided insights into driver behaviors in real time, and we were able to pinpoint areas that we could improve on. The dash cam continuously records the road ahead as well as the driver. It's like, imagine a co-pilot with unblinking gaze, always focused on the road and the driver, detecting potential hazards and capturing every detail. Okay. So some of the key features, right, was in enhanced driver behavior monitoring, accident prevention, which led to a reduction in accidents. Subsequently, sorry, let me just go back here. Okay, so some of the key features included real-time monitoring of the driver, incident recording, real-time alerts, and proactive notifications and alerts. Okay. Enhanced driver behavior monitoring and accident prevention led to the reduction in accidents, subsequently lowering the number of insurance claims. Furthermore, the video telematics acts as a deterrent to fraudulent claims, providing infutable evidence for insurance and reducing financial impacts, right? The dash cam allowed us to go back and analyze specific moments of the journey to document and learn. So I'm going to give you an example. So this particular driver had an accident the day before, but before he could even call us, the dash cam already picked up his behavior, picked up that he was harsh steering to the right and he was harsh braking, sent us the alert with the video of what's happening, right? So you will be able to see what's happening outside and inside the vehicle at the same time. Okay, this is unfortunate. This driver, I mean, his driving behavior wasn't up to scratch. I mean, he tried to overtake without checking in front of him, and he caused a massive accident. I think he endangered 4 people's lives in the vehicle, plus he wrote off the vehicle. And by analyzing these advanced, the advanced system predicts potential risks, transforming the dashcam into a proactive digital co-pilot. This co-pilot doesn't merely react to current situation, but rather foresees potential issues and provide guidance on them. The AI dashcam acts as a digital co-pilot, contributing to a smoother journey with the ability to predict, react, and guide. Okay. For example, if you look at this particular driver, he was on his phone. So the dash cam on the inside will alert him to fix his behavior. If you look at the bottom picture, it's alerting him. He's on his phone, get off the phone. If he was smoking, if he was eating, or even if he was distracted, the dash cam would actually prompt him to get off and fix his behavior. Okay. There's another example. I mean, the dash cam shows us harsh braking. This particular driver didn't have an incident. However, from the alerts we get from the dash cam, which picks up from his behavior, we could see his harsh braking. He went over the line. The traffic light was not working. He didn't stop. He didn't yield. Potentially, we now work on fixing that behavior. Okay. Another 3 examples on how the dash cam helps us. I mean, if you look at the first picture, distracted driver, the AI part of the dash cam will pick up that the driver's eyes is not on the road. The second one, he's not wearing a seatbelt. And the third one, he's got a mobile phone in his hand. The AI functionality here will help us fix these kind of behaviors. Okay. Okay, this person thought, so we don't allow smoking in the vehicle. So this is how smart the technology is. He thought he could hide and have a smoke, and the dash cam picked him up and sent through a violation that he was having a smoke in the vehicle. So obviously we don't allow that as well. Okay. The dash cams, through proactive learning and targeted driver training programs, have a significantly improved driver behavior. We use the recorded footage for the drivers to identify areas of improvement. So it helped us build training programs and coaching schedules to help these drivers, all in the end to reduce the bad behavior. Okay. The savings, I mean, by implementing the AI devices over 3 months, our customer achieved a massive 80% reduction in accidents and incidents. The success translated to a substantial cost reductions, including lower maintenance expenses for items like brakes and decreased fuel wastage. Overall, the impact included a notable decrease in insurance premiums and vehicle repair costs. Okay, even the reporting, I mean, the dashcam gave us some phenomenal reporting. By continuously monitoring and analyzing various aspects of driver behavior, such as speed, braking patterns, and adherence to traffic rules, we were able to generate comprehensive driver scoring reports, providing insights to individual performance on the road. The driver scoring system enabled the company to recognize high-performing drivers, offer incentives, and identify areas of improvement or innovation or intervention for those with lower scores. So, in conclusion, the integration of this AI has proven instrumental in establishing a dynamic mobility solution to address these challenges. By harnessing the advanced monitoring and analytical capabilities, our AI system provided comprehensive insights into the driver behavior, enabling businesses to redefine their fleet and management strategies. The driver scoring system facilitates tailored recognition for high-performing drivers and identifies areas for improvement, fostering a culture of responsible driving. This holistic approach not only optimizes fleet operation, but it also enhances safety measures, demonstrating the transformative power of AI in crafting efficient and responsible mobility solutions. And that's pretty much HSP.
That's very, very cool, Niran. I'm sure there's a lot of things. I have seen Nikki's comments there. I'm not sure if you saw in the chat. I want to put this in my teenage son's cars. I'm going to open up for questions. Ladies, you're welcome to ask a question. Just pop your hand up. Otherwise, put it in the chat. But I'm going to start off, Niran, by just asking how did you get the employee buy-in? So how, obviously if they're doing things well and they're being recognized and rewarded accordingly with that kind of gamified component, but how receptive were they to the feedback that they're getting and the kind of Big Brother vibe?
So Lauren, in the beginning, it was tough. I mean, within the first probably month and a half, we lost a huge chunk of drivers who didn't want to be monitored. But thereafter, when we show them the safety aspect and how not only were we keeping the vehicle safe, we were keeping them safe because it was helping them fix their driver behavior. They weren't having accidents, they weren't endangering themselves. So with the use of incentive, we incentivize them monetary wise. We also incentivize them in a way that they were able to upgrade their vehicles. So they started off with the lower category vehicles, and they worked towards getting the high performance vehicles.
Okay, that's very cool. Okay, awesome. Any other questions? I have another one, so if you don't, I can go ahead, but otherwise please pop your hand up or just ask if you've got. There we go. Sasha?
Hi, Niran. I just want to understand the technology that you're using. Is this a bespoke solution, or have you used already built products? And
So we sourced this through a company out of Amsterdam. It's part of Bridgestone, and they do a lot of the development that aligns with the South African market. So we sourced them, we brought them on board, and they started just doing the changes to accommodate or to match that product to South Africa's market.
Okay, cool.
Any questions? One question that I did have was obviously how we can get this into the public transport organizations in South Africa. I think that would be tremendous. Just in terms when you started, I think it was on your third slide, you were speaking specifically about the data they had prior to utilizing this technology and the accidents and the costs incurred and insurance claims and that. Is there rand value saving? Like what was a rand value that had the biggest impact here?
So this particular customer was saving is actually saving on average about 500,000 a month.
Sure.
Yeah, just an accident.
Yes, that should be enough to be persuasive.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. Are there any questions from anybody else? Any interest? Anything you want? I have. Oh, there we go. Nikki.
Yeah, I mean, the logistics company, we used to be part of Imperial Logistics, but I know the marketing manager there, and she complains just about having to rebrand vehicles, let alone the vehicle costs. So, Naran, I definitely want to talk to her about that because it impacts all of us. I mean, it doesn't just save them, it saves all of us. I live in Midrand. It's like driving in the wild, wild west. So, you know, if even 10% of drivers are impacted by this and improving their driving style, I think it's valuable for all of us to consider. And I want to get the group of moms together so that we can buy it together as a consortium for our children.
No, absolutely. Thank you. Yeah, Naran, that's really, really interesting. I have dropped your details, your website link and your LinkedIn profile yourself into the chat. So if anybody is interested for further conversations, please contact Naran directly. I know that you are dashing off because, like every good innovative person, he is studying and furthering his own knowledge and skills. So good luck for that, Naran.
Thank you very much. Lauren, I see you've got the wrong website there. It's hspmobility.co.za.
Okay, let me quickly go and get the right one. HSP Mobility. That's what happens when you just rely on South Africa.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Pleasure. I'm going to find your right website. Otherwise, if you don't mind to just drop it in because it's not coming up, I'm not doing something right. Otherwise, I know Ro is on the call and Ro can help me with that, but I will fix that. So I'll remove the wrong one in the meantime, and then we'll get the right one. Oh, there we go. Thank you. Perfect. Thanks, Naran. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Cool. So there we go, ladies. Let's get more of those little co-pilots going on in traffic. That would make a big difference to everybody's stress levels, that's for sure. Next up, we've got Sasha. She of the of the background that had everybody talking. Sasha, are you here?
I am.
There
Thanks,
we go.
Lauren.
Cool. So yeah, Sasha had to come in under disguise and all secret because her trusty marketing department understandably wouldn't kind of approve company stuff, which is absolutely fine because it's, I think for me, you know, the most obvious thing about you, Sasha, is that you're a woman, which is, as you know, the first part of WIT, Women in Technology. And I think for me, the big thing here is talking about those jobs that people are doing with technology and innovative use of technology that we don't necessarily hear or know about. And so thank you very much for joining us today and for your thought-provoking background. And I'm going to just hand over straight to you to take us on your journey.
Cool. Thank you very much. So, sure, I'm going to admit that I had to use AI to help prompt me in how I'm going to handle the conversation with talking about a project that I'm not allowed to talk about. So yeah, I'm going to take a line out of, I think you guys, a lot of you might be from Mint, given that Lauren is from Mint. So Carl and I got the opportunity to showcase the project that Lauren is talking about was picked as one of the 6 use cases in South Africa to present to Satya Nadella, who is the head CEO of Microsoft. And when I chatted to some of the people that were selecting the use cases that would be presented to him, some of the key themes that came out for me was around the impact that we make on society and the impact that technology can have. So in line with your theme and in line with what WIT is doing, I thought I'd chat to you guys about a framework that we use in all of our digital technology transformations. And it's actually something that if I had been given this when I started my career in IT, I started with IBM, I've moved through consulting, and now I have the privilege of looking after a large team in one of the largest banks in South Africa, and being exposed to a lot of digital transformation initiatives. So we talk about innovation, we talk about what it means. I want to open it up to the floor. What does innovation mean to you? You can just pop one word into the chat. When you hear the word innovation, what does it mean to you? Technology, change, doing things differently or better, forward motion. Oh, I like that one. Creativity, opportunity. Cool. Yeah, I mean, all of those resonate with me. And I think whenever I look at something in innovation in my career along the way, being in technology requires us to always be at the cusp of innovation, but that innovation changes over time. And one of the things that we've seen is that, you know, technology is only as innovative as it is relevant to the users that are using it. So I thought I would share a little bit of the framework that we had shared around the project, something that might help anybody else that's going through a digital transformation, whether you're on the consulting side or whether you're on the receiving side of it as a client. I've had the experience of being able to do both, and also keeping in mind, I would like to also just chat a little bit about some of the technology and impact that it can have, especially with the AI stuff and some of the cool things that we're doing now with our team, since this has now come to the forefront. So I'm going to share a slide quickly, if you don't mind. Is that cool?
Yeah, please.
Oh, sorry.
Lisa, will you put your be on? Thank you. Sorry.
Just a second. Now you can see my screen. Oh. Okay, so anything that comes up from a technology perspective, there's always a concept, right? Somebody comes up with an idea and there's something that we need to do with that idea. And normally the idea is it normally should be solving a problem. So we sort of talk about that as the outer ring around what we need to do. Come on, now my slides aren't working. We talk about that on the outside, right? But if you think about every digital technology transformation that you have, there's certain elements that make it work. And for me, this is something that's universal. It's not specific to one sort of transformation that you have. And if I think about over the years, in my IT initiatives, this has stood true for every year that we have. Yet the technology has constantly disrupted and changed over the years. So if you think about the outer circle as your benefiting society or communities and that kind of thing, You can think of the inner circle as what are the things that you need as the capabilities to actually make things work, to actually transform and make different, create an experience that people are going to remember. So we always talk about customers. There's always a benefiting customer in this. The technology that we use, it can shift constantly. The partners that you partner with make a difference in your technology. And then there's always the employee experience. So something that always goes, somebody mentioned change. Change management is a given for me, for everyone that we do. And at the center of everything that we do is centers around the culture that we build. And a culture gets built over time through trust and innovation as well. So I really just wanted to touch on, like, yeah, I open the conversation around what does this mean to you? Does it apply to your situation? Is it something that you could use? It brings a whole bunch of things together. So yeah, it's really just an open conversation. I'm really sorry that I can't show you what we actually built using this framework. Hopefully when it does actually go live, it will be a different conversation and we can come back and actually show you what we're doing.
One of the things that I would think kind of would be relevant here, Sasha, would be around what culture are you talking about? Is it a microculture in a team or a macroculture in an organization, or what dynamics are you referring to when you are looking at a solution?
So the culture for me is actually, it's all of that. It would be your microculture because you've got multiple things. So within my organization and my team, I've got smaller teams that fit into a larger team, and then that larger team fits into the organization and that culture. So it actually expands as you go. The smaller the team, and I mean, I was having a conversation today with some of my leaders around how influential the informal conversations are. And those are the ones that actually drive what happens in a team. So, I mean, I've seen big decisions being made in a bathroom conversation with leaders. So it's an interesting question. I think it goes across. It depends on, again, the perspective, the starting point, but your culture can ruin any kind of change that you are trying to do.
Absolutely. Mish?
Thanks, Lov. Sasha, I've got a question. How did you practically begin these conversations? Are there steps that you took, or, did it just emerge as you went along? Because we've got a project that we're working on at the moment, and there's a level in the organization that loves the idea of the change and they're really looking forward to it and they're excited. And then there's a few people that are a bit resistant, and I've really trying to build the relationship with them, and any hints or tips that could help me do this, I'd really appreciate that.
Thanks for your question, Michelle. So I think for me, it's been a culmination of things. Relationship building has always been the starting point. I think you're always going to have different camps, and no matter what you do, you're going to have the ones that are supporting you and the ones that are possibly resisting it. In my mind, whenever my team comes to me with that sort of similar issue or ask, I like to ask the question, have we fallen in love with the problem? And are we iterating the solution? So if you really, because I don't know the project that you're working on, I don't know what problem you're solving for. And the people that are resistant, what is it about the experience that they're resistant to? What is the problem that that we possibly not seeing or that they're seeing? It starts with small conversations. I find as a female in tech, it becomes a lot easier to have one-on-one conversations with people and then bringing all of them together in one room. But it's really good, and that's what we're really good at. Is I do find that a lot of the females in my team, we're very good at the one-on-one conversations, and then we bring everybody together in one room. I don't know if that helps in your context, Michelle.
It certainly does, and you're 100% correct. Having that individual conversation is so much easier. And what I found was in this particular project, there's always huge groups of people. They will invite someone from each and every department. Yep. And trying to control that and keep it focused is really, really challenging. So yeah, thanks for that. Thanks for that reminder. I think I'm going to go back to basics and try and have the individual conversations.
It's a pleasure. Some of the things, if you are in those big groups, though, one of the questions I often, the conversation often gets started and we go into solution mode. And I often bring people back and ask them, what is the problem we're trying to solve for today? And then and then put that in context of what the larger problem is. So if the problem is drivers are behaving badly, let's focus on that. If the problem is we're trying to figure out how to get our master data into one system. I think also eating, a reminder for myself is eating the elephant one bit at a time.
Mm-hmm.
It really does help.
Awesome, thank you.
It's a pleasure.
Sasha, I'm not sure if you can see the chat. Okay,
Yep.
we'll go with Selena first, and then we'll come to Sue's question. Selena?
Oh, sorry, I was trying to applaud and I raised my hand by accident.
No, perfect. Sue's got here, how do you match technology innovation and change management and adoption?
So when you say match, do you maybe want to come off mute and give me a little bit more context around the question?
Hi, Sasha. I just wanted to check with you. How do you guys do that in your organization? How do you, you have lots of innovation that's happening. How do you approach change management and adoption so that people are on the journey with you?
So we actually have change departments. We have the typical change management sort of adoption side of things. In the recent projects that we've done where we had a cloud transition, and Sageshni, I think Mint was actually part of that as well. And the previous cloud project that we had tried to do wasn't with you. It was actually before my time. They couldn't get their adoption up. They sort of had a 5% adoption after 2 years of trying. And we approached it a little bit differently the second time round that we did it. We sort of, again, made it relevant to the person, what's in it for me from a change adoption perspective. So it's really taking everybody into account, the personas that you're actually trying to get, the change that you're doing. In our space, what we find is that we have change champions as well in areas.
Yes.
So that's something that's worked really well. And we've also updated the way that we introduce technology to users and experience and that kind of thing. I think you guys are quite aware with, like Microsoft, you'll wake up one day and now you've all of a sudden got the ability to make an avatar on Teams because technology allows us to do that. In our space, it depends on what change you're trying to get them to adopt, right? And I'll be honest with you, the organization has pockets of excellence, and then there's pockets where we're still learning from others as well. In this particular instance, the one that you know about and everything, I think again, if you understand what change in behavior you're looking for and the intent behind it is positive, that makes things a lot easier. In terms of training and adoption, we've also connected people to KPIs. It depends on what you're trying to get out of it. It's very difficult to answer that in like that's going to be universal across everything. It's how big is the change that you're asking.
Understand.
If it's a small change, I do find that change and adoption is a lot easier when it's in bite-sized pieces, and that you're not overwhelming people with too much at the same time. And I get the sense, and I don't know if you guys feel it the same way, but there is so much change in our world, personal, professional, technology. It's almost like I've reached a level of change fatigue. And I've had to start thinking about, okay, what do I say no to so that there are the changes that I can say yes to? So that is one of the strategies we use in our organization is what do we say we're not going to do and we're not going to ask them to change so that we can focus on what the parts are that we really want to change.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks, Sasha.
That's a great kind of reminder, Sasha, because very often, as much as we do suffer from change fatigue, we just are on this runaway horse. And so it goes. A question from me, I just want to check the chat before I ask this. So just in terms of technology adoption, I think for me, one of the things, I mean, obviously, this is the Women in Tech Network. So I would imagine everyone on this call is familiar and au fait with technology. But, just in terms of accessibility and necessity and then usability, the user friendliness of technology, I I am not a fruit technology supporter because I don't find that technology useful, but I have people in my family that will go to war against me for making that kind of statement, because their entire house and car and life is connected, you know, because that's how they live and breathe. But in terms of adopting technology or identifying a technology you want to utilize and then adopting it, how do you plan for and prepare people along with, I mean, obviously this is part of the change, but it's like almost like the digital literacy around that particular technology that you've selected?
That's so, Lauren, I think for all of us, there is so much technology out there, right? I mean, you can, if you have a look at just the AI technology, if you actually look at a map of how much there is, how do you choose what is right for you, fit for purpose, right? It's quite a big question. But I think for us, and if I can draw on some of the experiences that we've had, I had a team who we were using an on-prem system of dynamic CRM, and this one I can openly talk about. I do have the marketing approval to do so. So I had a team, we were working on an on-prem system for CRM, 7,500 users using the system. It was with us for 7 years, a legacy system, but it wasn't keeping up with what we required, and we needed to get it over to cloud. My team that had been working on the on-prem system had never worked on the cloud side of things. So the first thing we had to do was engage them with it. They were super excited. We were at the point where we were losing people because we weren't using the latest, greatest technology. And now we're 4 years later, we're on cloud. It's been a massive success. We had a 90% adoption within 3 weeks of go live of that. We had reduced the cost by the time to roll up a new business unit by 75%. It was a massive success story. Now AI has come in, and I have introduced it to my team, and the same devs that were complaining about, we don't want to use legacy technology, are all of a sudden going, whoa, AI is going to take my job, right? So it's really about the relevance of it in that space. One of the things we're doing now is, and I genuinely believe in this, is curiosity often it can often be the cure for fear, right? So a story that seems to resonate with a lot of people when I go and present or tell them things is that I don't own a TV at home. I don't have a television. And often people are, whoa, what do you do? What I do own, or in our home, is that we have a small zoo. I've got 12 tarantulas, we've got scorpions, we've got bearded dragons. Yeah, that face is exactly.
I can tell you right now that everyone on this call is just incredibly grateful that it wasn't a show and tell for that.
Snakes, you name it, we probably got it. The only animal we don't have is cats, but we're working on it. But those animals actually isn't my hobby. It comes from my dearest, lovable husband. And when he first brought in a tarantula in my home, I was just like you, eyes big, wide, and I was like, whoa, what is going on? I don't want this here. But over the years, he started teaching me about what the spiders do and how they build their webs. And some of them don't build webs at all, and how they come out in wintertime when we've got fireplaces on. And I found myself becoming more and more curious about these spiders. And I think with any technology, it really is about being curious about it. So my team, we're doing an AI for Good hackathon at the end of the year. And what we've done is we've extended it. I've asked my team to build apps for kids, to use the AI to build apps for kids. And the reason we're doing that is for twofold. One, it gets them out of the office and thinking and the creativity. So we often find, like, as technologists, we're very good at solving and that kind of thing. But we sometimes, when we're in like work mode, we forget about the innovative ideas that we can possibly solve for. So we wanted to introduce some fun, and our kids are acting as the product owners. So we're inviting children to come and see their mom and dad doing the work. And we've got Microsoft involved, Mint is involved. We're setting up a whole showcase of how AI is being used. There's Minecraft coming to be showcased with education. How do you use it in storytelling? And the whole thing really is, though, to just get them curious and playing with it, to address the fear of, once you play with the co-pilot, you'll realize it is there to augment you. It's not there to take your place. But if you are not curious, and in any technology, I mean, 14 years ago, the technology that I was working in and delivering is way gone. But at the same time, back then, it was cutting edge then. It's no longer cutting edge. There's new things all the time, but the curiosity is the thing that's kept it at bay. So I can't. The amount of technology that's out there, is it fit for purpose? Is it solving the problem? Is it simple enough that you can use it? And can you, will it stand the test of time? And that's really what we look for. In my role as a leader, though, I'm constantly having to look for what's going to happen in 5 years' time and how do I prepare my team now? We would never have been able to prepare them for AI without going on the cloud journey, right? So yeah, I don't know if that helps.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think that's brilliant. I know for a fact that everybody is just going to take away that you've got this menagerie of animals at home. So be prepared for those kind of questions. Are there any questions from anybody on the call? Anything that's kind of triggered queries about career journeys, or how did you get here? How did you get to this call today? How did your career kind of get you here? In technology, I think there are a couple. I know there's a lot of the Girl Code interns are on the call today. So, Yvonne?
And what if, girls starting out, if you had to give them 3 tips for what was successful in your career, what would that be, and what to look out for?
So can I tell you guys a big secret? I don't have any technical background. I started my career or my journey at varsity. I was doing a degree in journalism, and the reason for that is that my biological mom passed away when I was 2, but when she was alive, she was a news presenter for 5FM. So I had sort of had these romantic ideas of me being this journalist and carrying on with that career. Found out I didn't like it at all. But I didn't have anybody in my life to sort of introduce me to technology or to introduce me to how to play with it. So I think for kids, it depends. If they're starting out at varsity, if they're starting out as children, for me, it's about understanding what critical thinking looks like, doing things that are going to push the boundaries. So, there's some basic fundamentals that come with technology, and so, the principles can be taught. I think there's still a lot of fear around being in what is still a very male-dominated industry. And the reason I'm telling you the story about my mom is that I obviously grew up, my dad was mostly my role model, which sort of laid the foundation for me to be comfortable in this world and be able to interact with male counterparts. My brother, I grew up with a brother, etc. So it's really about understanding what you want to do. If you can solve problems in this world, being able to apply yourself to that is really key. So I think, like for my kids, I'm introducing to them into things like they're playing chess at the moment, they're learning languages, different languages, they're learning a musical instrument, also that you can get the brain neurons working to be able to, because coding is another language, right? And now with with NLP, with AI, they're going to need to know how to use language to actually prompt technology. The other thing is to play. So I learned how to start building websites. There was a problem that needed to be solved. I had lots of friends and family that they were running small businesses, and none of them knew how to actually build a website or get a website presence. So I went and taught myself not how to code. I did a little bit of HTML coding, but I went and taught myself how to build them websites, and I went and built these websites for them. And it only takes that. And what I'm doing now is I'm playing with the technology, with AI. While I was on holiday with my kids, I decided to let them draw pictures. And they take their picture and I'd say to them, okay, tell me what's in your picture. And they tell me all the elements of the picture. And we would prompt the AI bot and everything in Deep AI to give us a story that matched their picture. And they got to learn about that. So all of a sudden they were like, oh, mommy, can we tell the robot to do this? Can we tell that? And they're suddenly now interested in it. And I had a conversation with them the other day to say, do you know that we had to like wait for bathroom breaks, like advertisements. They're like, what is that? So yeah, it's really about exploring as much as you can, understanding the principles of it. And again, the fear that might come in around speaking up around people. I've obviously learned the technology stuff because of my role, and I've had to. It's just continuously finding yourself growing and being in that growth mindset. And when you feel like you need to step back a little bit, it's almost like being a butterfly in a cocoon. You're going to have cycles where you feel like, I don't know what I'm doing. And I think everyone goes through that. And then you learn more and you become curious more to get to the next one. So starting out is try and learn as much as you possibly can, you research it, but look for a problem to solve. And that's when you will start growing the most. The problems I solved back in 14 years ago are not the problems that we have today. Today, I'm trying to learn how to use low-code, no-code applications to solve for today's problems. I want to build an app that can do that for kids. I don't have a coding background, but I do have an exponential access to information that can teach me how to do that.
Very cool. Sasha, thank you so much. That's amazing. Really, thank you very much. Very insightful. I think you've given everybody a lot of food for thought and some things to take away just in terms of how you can approach problems and just different ways of doing it. And I think, yeah, it will be very cool one day when you can share a particular solution with us and just talk us through that process. But thank you very much for sharing your journey and your insights. I think hugely valuable.
For having me.
Fantastic. Thank you. Before I do share, can I share your LinkedIn profile on?
Absolutely.
Okay, cool.
And anybody can connect with me. I'd be happy to connect. Yeah, I am part of the Debbie Champions, and this sort of topic is very close to my heart. I do believe, as we can encourage each other as women to keep going and support each other, and there's so much good stuff happening. So I'm really looking forward to being able to join more of these and learn from everybody else as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sasha. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Cool. And then last but not least, we've got Pete. Hello, Pete.
Hello there.
How are you?
Good. Yeah, I'll turn my camera on. Am I showing one?
Thank you. So Pete is the perfect example of taking a very high level request and responding very positively. I threw it out at him to say, Pete, at our last WIT event, we want to share like these awesome technology things that you do and just like wow people with all the things that you tell me. And he's like, is there anything specific you're looking at? And I was like, innovation. So Pete took that very broad and colorful request and here he is. So thanks, Pete. Appreciate your time this afternoon. Pete is part of the Mint Group and heads up the AI business, and I'm assuming that's what he's going to tell us about today.
Good, thanks, Laura.
Cool. Off you go.
So Laura asked me to talk about real-world examples of AI. So I largely ignored that and said I'm going to talk about what AI actually is and then give a few examples, which is quite fun. And she also asked me to shamelessly throw in that I'm part of a dive team that does very deep dives. So you'll see I found a very sneaky way of throwing it in. You'll never believe when it comes in. So I'm going to talk about two things very roughly. Before I get to that, there's two quotes that I wanted to show that I think are quite relevant in the new world of AI. I quite like this one because the latest versions of AI, the latest models that come out, I'll be demoing one of them, really do feel like magic. And hopefully I'll give a tiny bit of insight into how they work and why they feel magic and leave you with a gut-wrenching fear of the future. I really like this one because the whole idea around AI and jobs comes up quite a bit. And this is one of my favorite quotes. So to put it in perspective, our CTO, head of technical, he actively looks for programmers now that use AI because they're about 30 to 40% more efficient than programmers that don't. And it's interesting, we find two buckets of developers. I'm sure it's the same across every profession, those that embrace it and those that push it away, not necessarily correlated with those that are highly innovative or experimental and those that are highly experienced. But certainly, as someone who used to write code, they don't let me near it now, but for sort of little side projects, going to a GPT-like model and saying, hey, write the code that does this, you don't end up with something that's good, but you end up with the boilerplate, and then talking to it and refining it gives you something that is good. So I'm going to do two things. The one is just take you through a 5-minute, maybe a 7-minute example of what is AI, the latest bit of AI, and just explain how it works, which is ridiculous because it's very, very complicated. And then I'm going to give like 3 or 4 real world examples. This comes from a talk I did a little while ago on trying to humanize and make AI tangible and accessible. So hopefully I can do that. So I'm going to spend a few minutes talking about what it is, and no maths, no complicated stuff, really just trying to make it tangible, and probably scare the bejesus out of you. So this is a picture of a neuron in brain, a mammalian brain. What happens is a signal comes into this thing, this neuron, this cell, and if it has got enough potential, if it's big enough, it shoots out to the other neurons, and each one decides whether it passes the signal on or not. So that's how the brain works. It's really simple. Neurologists are probably turning in their graves at the moment. In 1969, a group called Minsky and Pipette said, hold on, that's really simple. Forget about what the neurologists are saying. We can make a program that does this. And they wrote this down. Don't worry about the X's and Y's, doesn't matter. Basically a little piece of math that says every time you get an input, if it passes a certain threshold, throw it out the other side. So that was it. This is an example of a neural net. That's what we all call an AI these days. And this AI has 18 neurons. This one probably wouldn't be able to do a hell of a lot at all. But this is an AI. When you use the advanced GPT and it generates images and stuff, which I'll dive into in a second, you're using something like this. And again, this is 18 neurons. There is a very startling and scary conclusion we can draw from this, but I'll tell you that in a second. So ChatGPT, I'm going to be just doing 3 demos on ChatGPT, and I wanted to explain how it works. So I'm going to show that in a demo, and I'm basically going to share my screen here, and I'm going to show this to you. All right, so this is my mobile. Laura, please forgive me, I'm going to show our WhatsApp chats, but there's nothing scary in there. I did double check before I went into it. So let's go into WhatsApp and find Laura. Okay, so if I start typing a message in WhatsApp, I'm going to just say, hello. What it's going to do is suggest words that I can put in. So you'll see it's suggesting my friend, how is everything with your mom? Apparently, Laura and I talk about moms a lot. So what it's doing is it's looked back across every message I've ever written, every message I've ever received, and it's going, what is the next word that I can predict? And if I keep doing this, you'll see that it actually makes pretty probably lexically accurate sentences. They're obviously highly inaccurate from a content perspective. But really all it's doing is it's saying, given a thing, which is in this case a word, a token, what is the next thing that you can generate? And that would be glad. Okay, now that's an example of a very simple AI. And it probably has a couple of million neurons. Something like ChatGPT is just that. That's exactly what it is. But ChatGPT is made up of 80 to 100 billion neurons. Still nowhere near what the human brain has, but I mean, it's huge amounts. It's lots and lots of those little things that pass on signals. Besides the fact that it has lots of them, and besides the fact that there is a little algorithm behind it, the difference between the WhatsApp one and GPT is really just the number of neurons. So that's it. So now you know exactly how AI works and the most modern versions of it. So I'm going to use GPT because it does a couple of really interesting things. The first thing I wanted to do, though, is just by show of hands, who uses GPT or similar Copilot on a regular basis? A couple of hands, 1, 2, not a lot. Okay. So I'm going to do a couple of demos on GPT. The first one is some sort of arbitrary question. How do I tie my shoelaces? Okay, something completely arbitrary, and it's going to come up with a an example. When you see it generating this, it's really just doing what WhatsApp does. It's just predicting what the next word should be. It's just doing that on a very vast kind of basis. But there are incredible things that it can do. So I'm going to show 2 examples of it, having a look at an image and giving context, etc. I'm just waiting for this. I'm just going to wait for it to start there. The only thing is that it can do a hell of a lot of complicated things. And there's a point to why I'm showing you this. Okay, so now we're moving out of the realm of WhatsApp predicting the next word, and it's starting to do some pretty complicated things. This is a picture of my dive buddy. She is actually the world record holder at the moment for deep diving. So last year she dived down to 246 meters in scuba in a cave. What is incredible is that it's looked at this and it's discerned the context. This is a diver, they're in a cave, she's quite right. Bunny ears are not standard. This is kind of weird. So it's got some incredible insights. It's known context, it knows about divers, it knows about bunny ears, it knows about, it's really like a human being. I'm going to do one more thing here, which is, in fact, let's just do one more image. And I'm going to do this one. So it's remembering context from what I'm saying. Let's just post that. It's picking up the kind of sequence of events that I'm putting in, and it will relate the 2 together. So, by the way, this is an example of us doing what's called extreme ironing. We were ironing a t-shirt down at 110 meters underwater. Loads of fun. Lower, there's your shameless plug about deep diving. So why am I mentioning all of this? Because
I do like how diplomatic ChatGPT is about it's a task typically associated with dry land, like not directly saying you look like a bit of a weirdo ironing at the bottom of the ocean, but just like typically.
But so now I'm going to ask it to go futuristic settings like the set of. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to ask it to do something which is actually generate. So everything it's done to date is understanding, it's analyzing, it's looking at the previous words and understanding, it's understanding an image. What it's doing now is generating. The scary thing is in the background, all it's doing is guessing a token instead of a word. Now it's a pixel and guessing what the next pixel is that it wants to generate. So there's an example of a diver doing extreme ironing on the set of Sphere, which is actually pretty good in a dystopian set. Now, the whole point of what I wanted to show around this, if we go back to this is mathematical. It's an algorithm, you put words and you get them out. GPT at the moment can pass the bar exam better than about 97% of people. These studies are done in the US. It can gain entrance to universities like Stanford and MIT in the top sort of 4th or 5th percentile. So it is outperforming humans on almost every sphere of task, like creativity, like art generation, etc. And the scary thing is it is an algorithm, it is deterministic. So this response that it's given me here, I can in theory take ChatGPT and write it down in an algorithm. And it'll be a bunch of pluses and minuses. And this is really fundamental for me. It's a codification of human creativity. So we could take somebody who's really good at law, somebody who's really good at diving down to extreme depths and ironing shirts, and in theory, codify or write down an algorithm that explains how they approach that problem, how their creativity comes in, how it works, etc. Now I'm brushing over a whole bunch of stuff there. There's a lot of implications and ethics and how we're a little bit more random and stuff, but I just thought that was quite a nice message to try and set, to go, here's this world of AI. It is deterministic, same input gives the same output. It is an algorithm, and it's outperforming us in things that we always thought were purely human domain. So if you're feeling kind of small and insignificant, that's AI. It's not all doom and gloom. Humans are definitely very good at some things that AIs can't do at the moment. But I just thought that was really interesting. It's really a WhatsApp predictor on steroids, but quite scary. The next thing is they'll ask me to go into some examples of how we're using AI in the real world. So not online, like Word or Excel, not digitally, but actually in the real world. So I'm going to show you 3 customers of ours. This is a large steel mill. This is the 2nd largest steel producer in the world. And they have what they call sinter cars. These are sinter cars. They have a massive circular track. They pour the ore in the top of these sinter cars. It goes into the furnace at 3,000 degrees and steel comes out the other side. These cars tend to get damaged. You'll see a sidewall over here has fallen off in one of the cars. When that sidewall falls off, if it goes into the furnace, it costs them millions of dollars, sorry, in damage. So this is an example of our tech just watching it with their cameras. We connect to existing cameras. We identify each cart, and as the cart enters the specific monitor region that we've set up, you'll see it triggers a new image coming up there. And the image that comes up gets sent for analysis and comes back and says, cart 5678 is missing a wall. You better catch it before it hits the furnace. They have done a business case and they think they'll save about 14 million rand a year with an early warning system on the sidewalls of the carts falling off. One question I asked us, which relates to that AI versus human thing, they said, why wouldn't I just pay a human to sit there? Costs are about the same in South Africa. 2 reasons. The one is that we find that at the beginning of a shift, a human is about as accurate as an AI. By the end of the shift, they are only about 64% accurate, 30 to 40% fatigue in accuracy. The second one is they have 6 of these lines, and once we get this right, copy, paste, copy, paste. However, they are going to have to employ a few people to run and monitor the system and work with it and stuff. So we're not taking away jobs, we're creating them, but in digital instead of sitting there and getting bored. It's a really nice example. This is another example at a grain customer. Nikki, you'll recognize this. These guys have massive amounts of grain silos. The trucks drive in. Then they get directed to a drop-off point. And the drop-off point is really a big grate that the truck drives over, and it tips sideways and all the grain goes into the grate. The scary thing is that the same grate is used for all grain. This is an example of sunflower seed. You'll see white maize coming in, yellow maize. So if they get the grain wrong, it goes onto the conveyor belt, goes into the wrong silo, and they're in all sorts of trouble. So you'll see here's a similar thing. We watch the trucks coming in. Oh, that's me. As it drives in, it monitors the truck. It snaps a picture of it. It sends it off into the cloud. It analyzes it and says, truck A with white maize just drove up. Truck B with yellow sunflower just drove up, etc. Gives them a way to exactly digitally plan who's coming on and off the premises at all times. So that's quite cool. Once we've trained it for 1 camera, we click, copy, paste, and we've got it working at 20, 30 cameras, which is very cool. This is a really interesting example. We did a proof of concept for Tiger Brands. Tiger Brands produces about 200,000 loaves of bread a day in their Germiston factory. This is Albany. They ship it from the bakery to dispatch, loaded into trucks. They count every loaf as it goes on the trucks. And at the end of the day, they add that up and they go, well, we've shipped 180,000 loaves into trucks. We should have 20,000 left at dispatch. And they go and check and they've only got 10,000 sitting at dispatch. So they know it's walking out the door somewhere. They know that there are syndicates colluding with the security companies. They have 2 independent security companies that work on this. They've told us that when they fire one and bring a brand new security company in, for about 1 week, the theft stops and then it starts again. It takes 1 week to infiltrate and corrupt and you know, et cetera. So we put a system in place that monitored the trolleys as they moved through the choke points. We turned 2 hours of footage, which causes you to fatigue a lot, into 20 snapshots that you can examine through the process, help identify some of this is happening. So here's 4 images. See if you can tell which one of these images has something fraudulent going on in it. And I'm not going to wait for hand raises and things. If you have a look at the far right image, the front 2 and back 2 stacks are stacked 11 high, but the middle stack is stacked 10 high. So this is a trolley that would be taken through and say it's a full trolley, but there are 2 crates missing. None of this would have showed up. The only way my team identified this is that we had 20 snapshots to work through instead of 2 hours of boring video footage, and therefore could stare at each image for 20 to 30 seconds at a time. And they said, hold on a second, there's a mismatch of a stack there. And as a result, we're able to find it. So that was quite interesting. It's a reality of South Africa that we live in, that we encounter fraud cases that we have to deal with. And then the last example, which I thought was quite cool, this is not yet a customer. This is an example of a drone company. They fly drones over these pipelines. They fly these fixed routes. and a drone flight can go up to an hour. They then have to take the footage, download it, and put it in front of some poor intern who watches it for an hour. And as I've said before, that's both costly and they're highly prone to inaccuracy. 40% inaccuracy is really just despicable. What we are hoping to land is a project that trains it to go, that's a pipe that's leaking. So we can get the footage from the drone real time and ping the owner of the mine and say, at GPS position 1, 2, 3, 4, you've got a leaky pipe that wasn't there 3 days ago. You can go fix it, and here's a snapshot of the image. So a pretty cool example because it's got drones and drones are cool, and we're using AI and image recognition to solve it. So that's 4 examples of what we're using AI from the real world. It's not digitally involved, very tangible and physical. And I think I've run over quite a bit, Lou, I'm sorry, but hopefully that gives you an idea of what AI is and how it works and why it's scary, and a couple of real world examples. Any
Absolutely
question?
perfect. Thanks, Pete. That was very cool. Thank you. Any questions for Pete? I mean, there was a lot of information. So, Sasha.
Yeah, I just wanted to know, Pete, from your point of view, there's been a lot of stuff in the media around how AI has been trained and the that some of it's been trained with a lot of the built-in biases because it's still humans that are training the AI. What's your sort of take on that?
If we think about an AI the way we think about a generation of students, then there is no difference. And I think this is really coming down to the core of it. AI is a brand new technology, so we tend to overhype built-in biases that may perfectly well have existed before. So if we say we take a generation of engineers that are coming out of our university system, they have been trained by professors and textbooks that were laid down 10, 15 years ago. And those professors and textbooks have bias in them. It's inescapable. But we don't sit here and complain about the engineers coming out of varsity because we're used to it. The fact that AI learns quicker on a much vaster scale means maybe the problem is bigger. But I do think that they're similar. It's something we have to focus on. It's something like, disparities in high versus low salaries, Gini coefficients, something like men and women, race. It's something we have to actively focus on because we're dealing with historical inaccuracies. And maybe AI allows us to make more mistakes quicker, with the exception of tequila and handguns, remember that whole thing. But I don't believe it's a new problem. I think it's just a slightly accelerated version of an old problem.
And do you think there's an opportunity for AI to help us rectify that?
Yes, in about 20 years, once we've made a lot of mistakes and then we try to correct them. AI will eventually get to the point where it helps to train and build other AIs. In the beginning, that will be an utter disaster. It'll be like photocopying a copy of a photocopy of a photocopy. You lose fidelity and you lose quality. Ultimately, I think it will get there, but we're going to go through a dip where it's not. Training AIs, the way we think about it is AI will be a maximum of, let's say, 97 to 98% accurate. So if you give it a whole bunch of examples, let's say 1 million examples of images that we humans have annotated, this is a cat, this is a dog, and it will get those 97, 98% right. Now, it will only be 97% right on the images we gave it. Humans make a 4% error rate. So we will have made a 4% error rate on data that we will then give to an AI that will only get 97. So it's going to by default be 6 to 10% inaccurate from the get-go because what we're giving it is inaccurate in the first place. And there's no way around it. Eventually, we'll get it past that. But, in the beginning, we need to look at AI as a much faster reflection of our current training methods, our current building methods, etc.
Very cool. Thank you, Pete. Are there any questions? I see a couple of people. Oh, there we go. Selena.
Sorry, hi. I just wanted to find out from Pete, what's your personal biggest fear when it comes to AI, how it is today and where it's going in the future?
I'm a dad, so my biggest fear is watching my kid use it, being scared, because they catch on so much quicker. What is my biggest fear? So every new technology has good actors and bad actors. It happened throughout history.
Yes.
So nuclear Fusion comes along and we have electricity and we have bonds. AI is no different, absolutely no different. It's just a little faster. So it shines a slightly brighter light on the inadequacies of human behavior. I think that the opportunity for bad actors to use AI is big, just like bad actors using nuclear fusion. The barrier to entry is lower. So where you had to be a big Russian state to make your own nuclear bombs, you can be a kid in a basement to use AI. Outside of that, it's a new tech. It's got a lot of fear around it. It will be very quickly baked into our lives and it will make them way better. But there's going to be examples where it's used badly. There's no getting away from it.
Thank you.
100%. Pete, thank you very much. That was really informative. I think you've kind of left everybody with food for thought, which is the purpose of this. So thank you for sharing with us and your personal examples. You will always be remembered as the guy who tried to earn a shirt at the bottom of the ocean, but also for some AI stuff. But thank you very much. And ladies, yeah, thank you to everybody for joining today. I think such an informative session, actually quite energizing considering it's the end of, middle of November, the end of the year, and everybody's energy is pretty low and, you know, kind of counting down the moments until December holidays. And our three speakers today certainly have kind of revitalized me, and I'm re-energized with seeing what's out there and what are the learning opportunities, and kind of you know, from you know, my son is 6 and he loves robotics and they love Minecraft. I think I saw Amy on the call just now. And yeah, I hope that you all found today really insightful and informative. And I just want to wish everybody here a really great festive season. I hope you all enjoy a decent break and put 2023 to bed. And then, yeah, I look forward to seeing you in the new year and with new ideas and new suggestions for WIT events for 2024. And those of you that have been promising to speak at a WIT event, 2024 is your year. You're going to come forward and really and share your experience with us. So thank you to everybody. It's really been great to have you all today. And to our three speakers, thank you so much. Enjoy your evening, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Lord. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Lauren.